that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody, I need a weapon, and welcome back to the Halo Expanded Universe. I'm kind of dating this video, but we now know that 343 Studios has been redubbed Halo Studios, or Industries has been redubbed Halo Studios, and a good portion of the 343 staff has been taken out, which is fine. There was changes needed to be made for the video games, but I hope this does not affect the expanded universe, which I actually do enjoy, because then I wasted all my time with this, and so did everyone else. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they, care about both types of fans equally as much. Anyway, today we have Legacy of Onyx by Matt Forbeck. He also wrote New Blood, and he'll write the next book we'll be talking about, which is Bad Blood. All which kind of focus on the Halo 5 stuff, except for New Blood, which focuses on Halo 4 stuff with Spartan 4s and being basically ODST 2. Legacy of Onyx is kind of a sequel to Ghost of Onyx and Glasslands by Karen Travis. They're not truly, but Tom and Lucy are there, and, this is after all those events, so they get mentioned. I don't know if it actually is, but it feels extremely young adult. We focus on this civilian, which we don't usually focus on civilians, named Molly, and her family, or her foster family, or her adopted family, moved to Onyx because they're really big scientists, and they're studying this thing called the Goliath, which, if you've played Halo 5, we know is a Guardian. And so they're there studying that, and this story takes place before Halo 5, during Halo 5, and after Halo 5. So that's why I'm talking about it after Halo 5, even though it starts before. But yeah, so it's, there's a little fun little aspects here. I mean, Molly goes to school and she becomes friends with a teenage elite, with a teenage grunt, and she learns to get over kind of her racism because she lost her entire birth family to the Covenant, and she hasn't really ever gotten over that. Which, fair enough. And so that's mainly what it's all about. It's kind of like overcoming racism, I guess. And it's fine. Of course, the Guardian eventually awakens because this is during Halo 5. And there's also some big connections to the Karen Travis trilogy, along with Jewel Mandama and this story, and it all kind of culminates into being after Halo 5, where we get Cortana's whole message to the galaxy, and the Guardian waking up, and that's the whole shebang. It's okay, the story. I mean, it's a lot better than I expected. The only other two YA novels that exist of Halo are absolutely god-awful, and they are terrible, 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 and I find almost nothing redeeming about them whatsoever. But this was a decent little story, but I can't say it was particularly phenomenal either. It was just fine. There's enough little tidbits and things here where I would say you should read it after Halo, but 5, I mean. But I can't in good conscience necessarily say that this is like a must read or anything. But that's most of Halo. But this was, for me, an even kind of lower bar than most. But it wasn't bad. I don't want to give the wrong impression here. I just wasn't thrilled by it. It started out really promising, and then near the second half, I was just kind of bored, if I'm being honest. But that's pretty much it for non-spoiler. I don't really have too many spoilers, per se. Yeah, I mean, it talks about how much of Onyx hasn't been explored, which I think is really cool, because it makes me think, can we get a video game on Onyx then, but knowing how it went last time, I don't know, but we got a new team, so who knows. But I think that could be an interesting setting, different from previous Halo games where they're all on rings. But still be, obviously, Halo. Or just any SHIELD world, and develop more time to it than what Halo 4 gave us. But yeah, non-spoiler wise, that's pretty much it. But I enjoyed it. You know, if you're invested in Halo, you should definitely check it out. I think Molly's a pretty good character considering it's a teenage girl, and there's some good lessons for younger people here. If you let your high school or middle schooler kid read this, I mean, nothing that you shouldn't already know because it's just pretty obvious. But um, there's some mature themes here, considering it's So I appreciate that. That's pretty much it. Up next, we will have the last novel currently written by Matt Forbeck in the timeline, with Bad Blood focusing on the Osiris team after the events of Halo 5. So, kind of Halo 5.5, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to get into spoilers now if you don't want any spoilers. The main antagonist is not Cortana or the Guardians or anything like that, because that's more for the UNSC and for Chief and all of them. But here we have Darol Mandama, who's Jules' nephew, and he's trying to keep going in that sort of path. We meet Bakar, the Sangheili, who is friends with, or becomes friends with Molly. We also learn that Bakar is Jules' biological son, and he just wants to have peace. He doesn't want to fight. He's a pacifist. There's a moment where Bakar gets news of Jules passing, so this is how we directly know that this is the start of Halo 5, because that's like one of the opening missions of the game. And the last 100 pages are after Halo 5, because Cortana gives that big message to everyone about how we are your created, we are going to save you all, we're going to make world peace and everything, but those of you who resist us, you shall meet a terrible fate. But yeah, so they deal with that on Onyx. Tom and Lucy are helping, Spartan 3s. We'd love to see them again. And they fight off Darol. There's a moment of confrontation between the two family members of Bakar and Darol, and that stuff's really good. It is actually pretty solid. But as a whole, it's fine. But, and again, I've been saying this for a while, but I'm reading Malazan at the same time, and Malazan's just such a high tier that I come back down to here and I'm like, oh, alright. But it's perfectly suitable, it's fine, it's enjoyable, and if you get it on sale or anything, you should check it out. I think it's a fun read, just not particularly phenomenal either. I suppose I also have a high bar set, because when I read the Star Wars Expanded Universe and we dealt with young adult material, we had stuff like Jedi Apprentice and Jedi Quest, which is genuinely just really good stories, regardless if it's for kids or not. And even stuff like Young Jedi Knights and stuff, which is really good stuff, despite being for kids. And I don't even know if this actually is for kids. It doesn't really advertise itself as YA, I don't think, but it reads like YA. And if it is meant for adults, that's a really, really big problem. But I assume it has to be, because it deals with a whole bunch of younger characters, and they're out of school, so it's meant to relate to kids that were in school. So I didn't do my research beforehand, but I have to assume this is YA. If it's not, then that's just a massive dip on this book in general, because it was 400 pages, which is unusual for a YA book, so I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Up next, we shall have the last novel by Matt Forbeck, which is Bad Blood. Until then, guys, let's finish the fight.